This is the voice of the Report of the Week, signing on. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone listening. This is VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. And here we are with VORW, is it 119 or 120 now? I forget which one it is, but here we are, nonetheless. President accounted for, it's a Saturday morning. Saturday, I think the 7th of May, 2016. Outside, the weather is very nice. I may go for a walk later. It's very, very thick overcast with some drizzle and fog, and that's the weather today. Very thick overcast with some drizzle and fog, and it's been raining a lot lately, and because of that, all the foliage looks exceptionally green, which is always nice to see, in my opinion. But this is another edition of VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. And this is recorded Saturday to be finally uploaded Saturday. I know ever so hypocritically I say in the episode, I'm going to get this up Thursday, I'm going to get it up Friday. Well, I'm going to get it up Saturday, and, maybe you could get a laugh out of the fact that I keep breaking my promises and saying that I'm not going to get it up in time. Well, nonetheless, here it is. This program. Hope you're all having a good weekend and had a good week beforehand. I don't have much of anything to say at this point. Some days our minds are just blank. We just don't have anything to talk about. In this program, however, spanning the length of around inching towards 3 hours. I don't know if it'll actually get to 3 hours, because I still have one last thing to record. But I think it's slowly inching towards the 3-hour mark. I think, if anything, it'll be between 2 hours and 50 minutes and 3 hours and 05 minutes. Nonetheless, in this program, it features two main segments. Segment number 1, which I recommend, if you're not interested, just skip it. Don't feel obligated. I always keep a little program guide in the comments, so don't feel obligated to listen. If it's of no interest, there's no point. But it's a program that I said I was going to give in the last show on the future of shortwave radio, and it's a longer program, but I cover it very detailed, and that's where that stands. And after that, of course, is the fan mail reading, where I read and respond to your letters, and of course, receive any answers for questions or answer questions given to me. So that's what we have there. And I know if the fan mail, some people might say, well, it's a bit monotonous. Everyone, is talking about the channel. But I'd lend an ear to what they have to say. You gotta remember, everyone has a different opinion, so it's not the same thing. Everyone's got different opinions. Some are very interesting. And just remember, someone took the time to write it. We all ought to take the time to listen to it. I think this is common courtesy and common respect. That being said, though, ladies and gentlemen, I guess at that point, don't have anything else to say. Nothing else on I have on the agenda to talk about on this show. So without further ado, here's the lecture on the future of shortwave radio. This is VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. Talking about this is never fun, but it's something that's going to happen anyways. And that's just the fact of the matter. I think I already gave a lecture back in 2014 on the future of shortwave radio, but consider this to be an amended version, and there will be, of course, further amendments and amendings to this type of lecture as time progresses, because it's currently an ongoing event. The future of shortwave radio. I know, I bet there's some people that enjoy at least listening to me talk about shortwave radio. I know there's probably a few dozen people who listen to this who actually have shortwave radios themselves, be it their casual listeners, or SWLs as they call them, shortwave listeners, or their ham operators, or actual broadcasters, or just have a knowledge of shortwave. I know there'll be a few people who find this of interest, and if you're just curious, you always hear me talk about shortwave radio, every program I do, and maybe you're just curious of, what does the future hold for it? What's shortwave going to look like in 10 years now, And let's give an honest, accurate prediction of what I think it'll be. I'm going to cover each region of the globe, and we're going to go from there just as time progresses, how I think it's going to be, and that'll be that. I'll give you a very brief synopsis. Sadly, I think the way technology is going, I think the shortwave bands are going to be a very, very different place in 10 years now. 10 to 15 years, I think they're going to be a different place with a lot less to listen to. That's why I keep advocating, listen to it now. Just listen to it right frickin' now. If you want to get into shortwave, get into it now. Because in 15 years, 10 years, there's going to be nothing to listen to anymore. Right now, you can turn on the radio right now, and you could listen to the Voice of America. You could listen to news from Japan, music from Cuba, programs from Saudi Arabia, Madagascar, Brazil, France, Germany, everything in between right now at a moment's notice on shortwave. I think 10 to 15 years from now, you turn on the radio, you'll be lucky if, you might be able to weekly pick up the BBC or something, and that's it. It's going to be a very different place with a lot less to listen to. And I believe in 2014 I didn't have that pessimistic of a view of it. But then I began looking to how shortwave radio really was in the year, say 2000, 2004, just 10 years earlier. And then I realized, my God, it's going to be a different place, because it was. If I started listening to shortwave in 2004, the bands would seem like they were dead right now compared to what they were like back then. Dead. I look at them as if they're lively and full of signals because I wasn't listening back then, but if I did, I'd have a whole nother perspective. So it's a shame. Shortwave is in decline. It's dying right before our eyes. And it's going to be dead, if not almost dead, in the next 10 to 15 years. So get it while the getting's good. This is your last. This is the very tail end of it, when it still has some fun in it and some nice stuff to listen to. Very tail end right now. Train's pulling away, but you can still catch it. Now's the time to do it. Here are my predictions for the future of shortwave radio. I believe it's getting, almost mid 2016 now, almost halfway through the year. Mid 2016. I think from now until 2020, there's going to be very few changes left. I think these next 4 years are really going to be the last four good ones. I think in 2020, when New Year's rolls by, you'll still hear the Voice of America, you'll still hear the BBC World Service, China Radio International. You'll hear all those big-name shortwave broadcasters, Radio France, Deutsche Welle, and all of those, including some big US stations, too. I don't think it's going to be much different in 2020 from what it is now, maybe with the exception of one or two broadcasters being gone, noticeably. I think it's still going to be, full of signals of stuff to listen to. But I believe with shortwave and the future thereof, I think it's going to start taking a real downhill trend after the year 2020, when high cost of broadcasting and technological developments in some regions of the world will make shortwave broadcasts to these areas irrelevant. It's going to start. First, I'm going to cover it by continent, but you're first going to notice this rapid decline in shortwave, and this is going to be the death knell for it, okay? There were rapid declines in shortwave in the 90s, then in the late 2000s, early 2010s, and I predict this one's gonna do it in the early 2020s. I think it's gonna kill shortwave in any area it affects. It's gonna be gone at this point. All right, that's what I predict. But due to just developments that kind of make listening irrelevant, I think it's first going to start in Europe. Okay, going to start in Europe and North America. All right, that's where it's going to start. North America is going to be most heavily targeted. Okay. Right now, the broadcasting scene in North America is stable with shortwave. Primarily run religious stations, have these big churches fueling a ton of money into shortwave. You have people like Brother Stair funneling in millions of dollars to keep shortwave going. If you listen to the last program, you'll hear all those transmitters that he was on at one time. Well, here's the problem. Really, it's going to come down to Brother Stair. I know nobody likes Brother Stair, but the fact of the matter is he's one of the principal forces keeping shortwave going and giving these stations money while they will air his programs, also use some of that money to keep up their transmitters and have other broadcasters on the air too. But all his money that he funnels into these stations, it's really what keeps them going, and it's what keeps the shortwave broadcasting scene in the U.S. alive. As I reiterate, the money he puts into all these stations, while they air his programs, it's also able to keep these stations running, and allows them to actually air programs of their own, or because they're actually doing well with all his money from them, they can air international broadcasters, they can have music programs, shortwave-related programs, for free or for very little charge. And it's thanks to these evangelists who pump in just, tens, hundreds, millions of dollars, and all these stations and keep them going. For instance, stations like WRMI is able to run 16, or is it between 14 and 16, 100 kilowatt transmitters. That's 16 frequencies used at once. And while around 10 of those frequencies are just Brother Stair, the other 6 have international broadcaster relays to the U.S., which would not exist should the station WRMI be out of money. Right? You get stations like Radio Slovakia International, Radio Prague, Radio Ukraine International, Radio France International. These international broadcasters of English services actually be able to relay their programs to North America through WRMI. Right? Be able to hear all these stations. You're able to hear the Famagusta Gazette Radio, which is the international broadcaster of Cyprus, relayed to North America. Able to hear shortwave programs like Glenn Hauser's World of Radio. Able to hear all sorts of music programs, and so on. Okay. Now, here's the problem. This whole chain of events in the U.S. is going to end soon. Brother R.G. Stair is 83 years old. And he could die of age tomorrow, and then what? He could die tomorrow. I figure he'll probably go for a little while longer, and maybe up until 2020 some of his followers might try to re-air some of his programs. But he said when he dies, that's going to be it for his ministry, the Overcomer ministry. That's going to be it. He says, when I die, it's going to shut down. No more broadcast, nothing. When I die, and that's it. Now we'll see if greed gets over all of these people, though, who are his followers. Be smart if some of them keep airing his tapes as if he never died, and have him asking for more money, so he'll just pocket the money, wait until the shortwave contracts run out, and just bolt, So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But I think when he dies, he'll be gone from the airwaves in a relatively quick time, at least once all the contracts of the stations run out. Okay. So, that's going to be the first problem for the U.S. When this Brother Stair dies, you could expect after that in the coming months several shortwave stations to close up shop and it'll be done. specifically a station called WWRB. He's pretty much their only client. Just a few smaller clients, but he's their only one, pretty much. Big source of income gone there. He's going to have to shut the station down. The station WRMI I was talking about, probably about 70% of all their money comes from Brother Stare. When he's gone, they're going to have to reduce it, maybe if they're lucky, to just those 6 transmitters or so, scrap the rest. So that's a lot of signals gone from the band there, even if the station doesn't close down. And they'll be lucky if they're able to find the money to keep all these other broadcasters on. Stations like WWCR will still be on for a while, but they're going to be losing a lot of money too with him gone. They're going to have to probably close down some transmissions, but they'll still stay above water. World Harvest Radio, they'll do okay. And stations like WBCQ, they're going to make some cuts as well, but they're kind of like the people's station. I think they'll be up for a little while longer too. So already, simply because this guy, Brother Stare, dies, it's going to take a real severe hit on the U.S. Shortwave market. I expect in the mid-2020s, station WTWW, which tries to air, shortwave programs and music, I expect them to go off the air too, sadly, due to the fact that right now they only relay just music programs, which I love listening to. Every night blasts in, and I could listen to them play some music for 3 hours. Midnight in the Desert with what used to be Art Bell. Now they have a new host. Forget her name. And that show won't be there forever. And then they have this program called Scriptures for America, which is this guy saying, kill the gays, all the whites are actually the tribes of Israel, and all that stuff. And the guy in charge of that ministry is already dead. He's just there on a contract, so they're still relaying him, even though he's been dead for years. They'll be gone. They'll be off the air. Some other stations will hold out a little longer, or divert their attention elsewhere. Again, the stations like World Harvest Radio, they're still good with clients, but I think they might have to make some cuts. Same with Worldwide Christian Radio. This one station called WJHR out of Florida that's on shortwave is going to be gone soon as well. It's just this church that said, "Yeah, let's build a shortwave transmitter and get good old preacher Mr. John Hill on the air." So they did, and then Mr. John Hill died, I think. Pretty sure he did. Maybe I'm talking about someone else, but I read somewhere that he died. And if not, it's a 50 kilowatt transmitter. It's just run by a church. Just, some small town church. It'll be too much upkeep eventually, and they'll go off the air. And by the late 2020s, the U.S. shortwave scene for domestic stations will be few and far between. There'll still be a few signals up. I think WBCQ will be one of the last. They might have to abandon some transmitters, but I think they'll keep 7490, and they'll be one of the last standing. Maybe one or two of those religious stations on a severely reduced schedule, but I think that'll be the scene in the late 2020s. As for Canada, there's a few stations still there broadcasting to the remote parts of Canada. Very low power, though. And one in Newfoundland broadcasting to rural Labrador with just a few hundred watts. One in Toronto with just a few hundred watts. One in Vancouver, and one in, I think, Calgary. But they're all very low powered. If any of those stations were to go off the air, it'd be News Talk 1010. Not their AM, but their shortwave relay on 6070. If any of you are in Toronto and you listen to News Talk 1010, believe it or not, they're actually simulcast on shortwave, but no known fact. But anyways, I think they'll go off because they're 1 kilowatt. They're the highest power. But I think Canada will last longer in shortwave than the U.S. simply because I believe, as I reiterate, that the real rural parts of Canada, there's not going to be too much attention put to developing it. It's extremely void of anything, and they'll still kind of need some shortwave broadcasts there for the foreseeable future. Plus, the transmitters they use to reach those areas are very low powered, which means they're really cheap to run and maintain. And I think they'll be on at least some of those Canadian stations will still be on the air. Mexico's already off the air pretty much. Let's see what we got next. We got the phone ringing, but let's ignore it and let's carry on as normal. Europe. European stations. I think Europe's going to be another hard-hitted place. I think any broadcasts really targeting Europe are going to be gone in the next decade. I think, if anything, Europe will actually go down faster than North America, I think. I think all the religious stations that still target Europe, any international broadcasters that still target Europe are going to be gone. I think that broadcasters such as Radio Romania International are going to leave the airwaves in the next 15 to 10 years. Voice of Greece, I think, will be gone also. I think Radio Austria International will leave the air. I think Radio Exterior de España will leave the air. I think RTE, Radio 1, will leave the air in the next 10 years. And all those shortwave broadcasters, I think, will be gone. Lithuania, they'll shut down the remaining shortwave site. And Deutsche Welle, the international broadcaster out of Germany, I think they might shut down as well. Last year they had some budget issues and they had to shut down their relay station in Rwanda, the Kigali site. So they already shut that down, closed a lot of transmissions, so I don't know how much longer they'll be up for. That being said, all these shortwave stations in Europe are going to be gone, all these high-powered ones in the next 10 years. What does that leave, even? That pretty much just leaves the UK and France. And that's it. Those two, I think, will still be around. I think the BBC World Service is still going to be around on a greatly reduced schedule, targeting Europe. Targeting Africa, using their Wolferton transmitting site. And same with Radio France International, because I don't think Africa's suddenly everyone's gonna have, a smartphone and perfect internet and perfect television with a nice picket fence and green lawn. That goes for really anywhere in the world. I just don't think that's gonna happen in the next 15 years, unfortunately. The way there's still many unstable governments, still threats of ISIS, Boko Haram, other terrorist groups to emerge. You gotta remember that the Islamic State 10 years ago, nobody even would have known they existed, nor that they would have ever gotten to the extent that they got. So never say never, unfortunately, in regards to terrorist groups and other groups. So I think there's still going to be some broadcasts to Africa, at least in the next 10 years, from the BBC. I think their English service will be reduced by a lot. But I think they'll still broadcast in some local languages. Hausa, Kanuri, Swahili. What are the other... what language is spoken in Ethiopia? I forget the name. There's Oromo. Amharic, I think. Aramaic, right? And a few others. I think they'll greatly be still broadcasting on shortwave in those languages, with a few English broadcasts spread throughout. I think the ones that are greatly audible in North America will be discontinued as well. I think they'll be considered as frivolous assets at some point, and you'd be real lucky if you'll ever be able to hear the BBC in English in North America again. Same goes for Radio France. I think their English service will be cut. I think they'll primarily focus on French broadcasts to Africa and really nowhere else. All right. Speaking of what I predict the domestic broadcasting or even international broadcasting scene in Africa will be as follows. I think Algeria is going to leave the airwaves too, and I feel bad for them because they're building these two new transmitter sites, but I think it's just too little too late. They've been trying to build these sites for years and years and years, and now they're finally going to get them up. And I think maybe they'll use these transmitter sites for a few years, and then they'll just give up and tear them down, sadly to say. So I think Algeria will be gone soon. Morocco, they'll be gone also. They have a commercial station, and once, people stop listening, they'll go too. Radio Cairo in Egypt, I'm not even going to lie, I don't expect any change to be done with Egypt, their Radio Cairo service. They've been using broken shortwave transmitters since the 50s, and they haven't gone off the air at all. So I literally don't think anything's going to change with Radio Cairo. I think in 10 to 15 years, they're still going to be using the same decrepit transmitters that they always have been using, with no change to that at all. Other countries, Mali, I think they'll stay on the air just because China Radio International owns the sites, and I think they'll still utilize that to broadcast to Africa. Some of the smaller countries, it really is a case-by-case basis. Some of them, like Liberia, Guinea, and all of those. I think it's a case-by-case basis, and I can't make judgments based off of that. Nigeria, I think the Voice of Nigeria will still be on the air as well, because shortwave is very popular in Nigeria, so I don't think they'll stop that. In Angola, I think they'll stay on the air. I think Tanzania, they'll still stay on the air. Ethiopia, Somalia, and Eritrea will still stay on the air. Sudan will stay on the air, but they'll discontinue their broadcasts and use their transmitters for jamming stations going in. I think, if anything, I think the Voice of America will... they have transmitting sites in Sao Tome and Principe, and they have a transmitter site in Botswana. I think they're going to close one of those two. I don't know if it'd be the Sao Tome one or the Botswana one, but they'll close one of them. The other one will still be going, but again, exclusively to Africa, mostly in local languages, and maybe an English broadcast here and there. South Africa will leave the airwaves. Trans World Radio in Swaziland will leave the airwaves. And again, in Madagascar, it all depends. There's a relay station in Madagascar who just takes any clients. If there's any people around who still buy into that, they'll stay on the air. If not, could kiss themselves goodbye. And the new station in Madagascar World Voice, again, I might be afraid to say maybe too little too late. You just gotta see. If anything, I think all the shortwave broadcasters will have more of an emphasis on local languages where it matters, and not these sweeping, giant English services and Arabic services and French and German services. I think they'll have to really customize and go back to the roots to target specific groups of listeners. That's what I could expect in the next 10 years. As for the Middle East, now the Middle East will be a mixed bag. I think some countries that maybe are doing okay might keep their shortwave service. You still, by chance, may be able to hear Saudi Arabia on the airwaves, and even Oman. They might keep a few broadcasts going. Same thing with the United Arab Emirates. They're very rich, and it depends if they have clients for their relay station. If they want to keep it going, they may. Otherwise, they'll shut it down. Iran will leave the airwaves. Unfortunately, if you've listened, you know what they've been going through with the budget. And Radio Pakistan will end up going off the air as well, due to the fact that they also have some budgetary issues that will impact the region. Going into Asia, the situation it's different between West, East, and South Asia, or Southeast Asia. Starting in West Asia, Russia already doesn't really have a shortwave presence, so they're gone. The Central Asian countries like Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, and what have you, it depends on how much development occurs there. And again, they mostly run off of relay stations. So if there's any clients for these relay stations, which I think, imagining North Korea is still around, at least one of these relay stations, which mostly brokers to programming to North Korea, will still be on air at that time. Otherwise, I imagine some of the relays might close down, but perhaps a national radio or two will still remain on shortwave. The situation in India, expect all stations in India, roughly 400, to go off the air within the next 10 to 15 years. China, they're still going to be on the air, albeit reduced, but they're still going to be on the air of several hundred shortwave broadcasts. If there's any station I have hope in, it'll be China Radio International, that they'll still be around and still somewhat strong. Definitely the China National Radio Service will still be around, and the China Radio International Service will be around as well. Now in South Asia, I think stations like the Voice of Vietnam and Radio Thailand, as those are, especially Thailand and Vietnam too, those are countries which are greatly developing, I think they will eventually leave the airwaves as well. As for Laos, they have their Lao National Radio. It's a lower powered station, so there's a 50-50 chance that it'll stay on the air or otherwise. So flip a coin and that'll be the decision for that. As for Burma, there's still high shortwave listenership there. So, assuming that continues, or even if it declines somewhat, there will still be some listeners in Burma in 10 to 15 years. There may be a Burmese, they call it Myanmar Radio. That's the national radio of Burma, or Myanmar. That may still be on air. It may. Now, East Asia, the situation for the most part is expected to be pretty dismal. Of course, many countries in that area, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, are all very technologically advanced and media-rich countries. Therefore, I expect NHK Radio Japan to totally leave the airwaves. I expect KBS World Radio from South Korea to totally leave the airwaves. And I also expect Radio Taiwan International to totally leave the airwaves. The only area in that part of the globe that I expect there to be some shortwave activity is North Korea. I think North Korea is going to continue broadcasting on shortwave uninterrupted, as if nothing has changed until literally the country collapses. And that's what I expect. So if there's going to be a real hub of shortwave activity, it'll be North Korea. I expect their Voice of Korea international broadcast to literally carry on uninterrupted. All their national services, Pyongyang Broadcasting Station, KCBS, and all of those to continue on shortwave uninterrupted. And I also expect there to be broadcasts going into North Korea too. As I said, many of these brokered transmissions, clandestine stations like Voice of the People, Radio Free North Korea, Open Radio North Korea, I expect them to go in. And even I think this is where you'll see some international broadcasters that are still active. I think you will see stations like the Voice of America, Radio Free Asia, and the BBC World Service, still with Korean language services to North Korea. So I do think out of all places in the globe, this is going to be one of the biggest remaining hotspots for shortwave broadcasts. I think there will be a few less clandestine stations, just due to budgetary, constraints. But I think they'll still be around in number. As for Australia, Oceania, Radio Australia I expect to go off the air, unfortunately. ABC Radio, which broadcasts on shortwave to the Aborigines, depends. They have 3 transmitters right now. I could see them cutting 2 of the 3 and keeping 1. Radio New Zealand International I expect to unfortunately go off the air. As for Indonesia, I expect the Voice of Indonesia to leave the airwaves. However, there are a number of low-powered regional stations in Indonesia and Papua New Guinea. I expect them to stay on the air, at least a few of them, as they are, again, low power and easier to maintain. Into the Pacific, there are a few stations that are still around, such as Radio Vanuatu and the Solomon Islands Broadcasting Corporation. That can go either way. I think some of those islands will still be utilizing shortwave and may look a little more promising there. Now, as for South America, and the last continent we are to cover, I think the shortwave scene in South America will be mixed. I think we'll expect to see at least a good deal of shortwave stations still existing. I think some of the higher power stations, like Radio Argentina Exterior, for instance, in Argentina, may go off the air. But I think Brazil, which houses over about 300 active shortwave stations, all with low power, will still be going strong on shortwave. I think there'll still be probably 200 stations still on the air, low power in Brazil, really broadcasting to areas of the Amazon and just to the whole country. I expect Brazil to still be a real strong holdout in terms of shortwave and the usage thereof. I think there will be a few other shortwave broadcasts throughout South America and maybe even a few in Central America. Another country that I have some hope in is Cuba. I think their Radio Havana Cuba broadcast, I don't even know if it'll be reduced, but I think their Radio Havana Cuba service to North America will still continue on in English, so you can look forward to that still being around. But that looks like that's how I see the face of shortwave radio in 10 to 15 years. Now, this is an extremely pessimistic viewpoint, absolutely. And it's always good to have more faith in the matter. But as I always say, sometimes look at things with pessimism, and in the end, at least you'll be pleasantly surprised if it turns out otherwise. Rather than to look at things like this, saying, oh, I know it's going to be around, then it's not. Cherish what there is, savor what's left, and right now enjoy what you have, because there's a plethora of broadcasts still around, over 100 countries, still on the air, plenty of English services. Hey, it's a resource at your disposal right now. Why not make use of it before it's gone? So if you're considering listening to shortwave, buying a receiver, getting into the web SDR, which that's what I recommend getting into web SDR first. Alright, we watched earlier VORWs from 2014 where I explained how to use the web SDR, and I highly, highly recommend that. As a matter of fact, these VORWs are still very much valid. So let's just find them right now, and I'll cite them. And let's see, web SDR, right? I highly recommend listening to VORW number 13. If you want to get into shortwave and you don't have a radio, get into VORW number 13. Alright? 13. VORW number 13. Very useful. Nothing has changed since then, so it's still up to date. I recommend it. It's a little more sloppier, but it's valid and useful information. And that's all that I have for you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, following the time signal, of course, is the fan mail segment. This is VORW, the voice of the report of the week. You're listening to VORW, the voice of the report of the week. Now, this is the fan mail segment again, the letter program, where we read and respond to your letters of perhaps support, of hatred, of criticism, no balance at all, questions for me, general statements, shout-outs, and everything in between, here on VORW, the voice of the report of the week. The question for this program still stands as the last, of course, because as I mentioned in the last program, this is simply a continuation, you may say, of the last show. Therefore, dear listeners, the question for this program is the same as the last one. If you didn't listen to the last program, you're in luck, because you get another chance to answer the question. Simply put, you have the ability to have 3 wishes granted. You cannot wish for any more wishes in any way, shape, or form. 3 is it, all right? No way to dupe the system, no way to get out of it. 3 is it, okay? What do you wish for? If you'd like to say why, or if you'd like to get into detail what you would wish for, that'd be great. That is the question for this program, and all replies will be answered in the next show. VORW number 121, I believe. Now, if you'd like to send us your reply, any general statements or comments regarding the show, or anything of your heart's desire, that is greatly appreciated, of course. Please write to the following, or one of the following 3 means. Number 1, via YouTube. youtube.com/user/the report of the week. Click on the About tab. Send message, type the contents of your message, and from there, simply send message, type it in, and of course send the message where it will get to my inbox. If you're more of an email type of person, which I know some people are, write to us via one of the following 2 emails. It doesn't matter which one, flip a coin if you like, whichever one you like better, write to it, gets to the same place. repweekinterview1@gmail.com, that's repweekinter, the number 1. No spaces between any of those. At gmail.com, that's repweekinterview1@gmail.com. Or vorwinfo@gmail.com, that's vorwinfo@gmail.com. If you're not sure on how to spell any of those, one easy way to find the Rep Week Interview 1 address is, again, go to the channel's About page. I believe there's a button that says Reveal Business Address. Go through the little brief CAPTCHA, and from there you should find the address with that instant. You're listening to VORW, the voice of the report of the week. Let's check out the letters. We got where we started off, and we'll go through the inbox first. And this show I'm going to be reading all the letters I couldn't fit into the last one. So all the new letters about the wishes and everything, that's going to be in the next show, because otherwise we're going to have an imbalance, and it's just going to be indefinite, So heck, if the next show has to be a couple minutes longer, we'll do that, but I just don't want to end up reading this show's letters too early, and then have different letters being read in the next one, and so off. I just don't want to create that imbalance. I want to give everyone a fair shot, and, that's what I want to do. So, starting now. Hey, how are you? I'm doing okay, thank you for asking. Sorry to hear that you've been feeling under the weather, and glad you are better now. I myself have been sick and starting to feel a little bit better. Whatever this virus is has kicked me in the butt. I haven't been able to watch any of your videos due to my job, and I have not abandoned the channel. I just have a lot of catching up to do. Downloading some of your VORW shows, as I no longer have internet at home, so I can listen to them at work when I have the chance to do so during the week. Just take care of yourself and keep the channel going. You are my favorite reviewer and by far the best dressed. I'm very glad I found this channel. You've helped me in so many ways that you may not know. Thank you so much. Friends forever, from Christopher, a.k.a. Trenchcoat. Well, thank you for writing, Christopher. He's a long-time viewer. As I was saying in the last program, I do remember those people who did write in and were fans and viewers in 2012, and this guy is one of them. Been sticking with the channel ever since. I do remember the first audience, and he was part of it. One of the rare few who's actually continued with the channel. And I remember Trenchcoat, as he sometimes goes by. I remember him from 2012, when this channel had literally maybe 200 subscribers. He was one of the only people watching at the time, but he was there, and he's still here. And I know you're going through some rough times, and just keep hanging on, keep hanging in there, and just got to cherish the little things, my friend. I know sometimes when it all just goes to S, whatever it may be, life, the world, personal situation, just got to cherish the little things, even if it's something as simple as being able to go to the park and watch the birds fly around, and just cherish it. Cherish whatever little thing you can get. If you got a good little meal or something, cherish it. Just use the little things sometimes to keep going. We don't all need to win the lottery to at least try to have some little solace and happiness to keep us going for another day. Just the small things are really sometimes what's most important. But it really depends on your own circumstance, your own situation, and that is truly unique to everyone. So we just hang in there. Let's see what we got next. Hey, I couldn't find anything about this, so this is why I'm bringing it up and asking. My girlfriend's brother thinks that all water tastes the same, no matter if it is spring, tap, fresh, salty, or whatever. This is also coming from the person who won't eat anything if it tastes how it smells. And you and I both know that not everything tastes how it smells. This is also the same person who has never tried orange juice, apple juice, or orange itself, ranch, just basic American food he's never tried, but he will eat any water-packed noodles from an Asian market. He's very weird, so my question is this. Could you do a taste test with Smart Water, Fiji Water, Aquafina, Nestle tap water from your house or bottled tap water, and whatever brands you can find? This will really bury the hatchet with him, and I'm sure many other people as well. Thanks, bro. Enjoy the vids. Keep it up. By the way, don't mind the haters. They're idiots. I had my fair share when I was popular between 2007 and 2010. I stopped because of all the hate and made a new YouTube. So don't be me, and keep going strong. Well, thank you, sir. And I think that'd make an interesting review if we had if we somehow got like a bar almost and just lined up all the waters there, and just lined them all up in a nice little row, Wouldn't that be something if we got a blind taste test of water, right? Well, this one tastes like water. Huh? This one tastes a little wetter. This one tastes a little more chemically. Interesting. Speaking of water, guess what I stepped away from the computer to get right now? Yeah, how do you know? Water. It's amusing. I've been seeing some comments lately where some people just still don't realize that I drink water out of this blue glass. I have a few of these blue glasses. It's not just the same glass. I have 4 of them that I keep in circulation. I go through 1 glass each day and kind of rotate them a bit. So just 1 glass per day. There's 4 in total. And 2 ice cubes going in. Of course. Water. Okay. All right, let's see what else we got here. Dear sir, I've only recently come across your channel and your food reviews, and I wanted to say that I very much enjoy them. Not only for your insightful and humorous food reviews, but also for your wonderful wardrobe. I wanted to ask, apart from white, what is your favorite color of shirt to wear? My favorite dress shirt color, aside from white, is gray. Gray dress shirts. I think I have 2 gray shirts that I wear regularly, and I have 2 other gray shirts that I have in reserve. One is a short sleeve gray shirt that I sometimes break out in the summer months when I'm in the tropics. But otherwise, the last one is kind of like a real backup reserve shirt. I haven't worn that one for a long time, but if in a worst case scenario, I'll still have an extra gray shirt to wear. But around 4 in total of those gray shirts. He says, I would also like to mention that a week ago I saw your video on shortwave listening. Since then I've spent almost up to 5 hours a day listening to it. I bought my first radio on Saturday and expect to receive it in the post tomorrow. I'm still new at it, and I don't know all the good stations as of yet, so if there are any that you could recommend me, I would very much appreciate it. I'm usually on the WebSDR under the name Toffee. Thank you very much for taking the time to make these videos and share your thoughts with us. I sincerely hope you'll keep making them for years to come. P.S. Why do you guys have so many religious nuts on the radio? I'm on the other side of the planet and I'm picking them up. Well, let me check for the heck of it. Let's see if he's on the web SDR. Let's see this. Toffee? T-O-F-F-E-E. Yeah, there he is. Yep. Yeah, he's there. I'm not just saying it, he's legit. Well, I appreciate that, honestly. I appreciate that he wasn't just saying that. He's really into shortwave. I appreciate that. Well, fact of the matter, the reason why there's so many religious nuts on the shortwave, and you might have heard this in the, the lecture before this program, simply because who they try to target and willingness for people to, believe in whatever they choose to. Some of it I think is downright idiotic. For instance, there's different types of religious stations in the U.S. You have some stations which are just absolutely insane, and then you have some stations which are more kind of middle ground, Some of the stations which are acceptable are KNLS and World Christian Broadcasting and EWTN Radio. Those three, they're religious stations, but I give them they're fine. They don't spew anything insane. They just have regular news bulletins. They just play music. They'll have some religious talk programs here and there, and it's nothing extreme, nothing incredible. So they're fine. I'll even listen to them sometimes. They have good programs, and they get the pass from me. Then you get the people like Brother Archie Stare and all these people who are just insane. At least many of them are. Well, the fact of the matter is they target a certain group of people, and this certain group of people just believes what they have to say with a passion, and they just fuel in the dough to these guys and just keep those furnaces burning, real strong. Again, the people who Brother Stare and the rest of these people try to target is the we'll just say it as it is, the Southern, Midwestern, and perhaps even Western aristocracy of the U.S. That means the rich people who will listen to anything, and if it has God's name on it, they'll fuel in some money. And it's true, some guy gave Brother Stare $1 million a couple months ago. And who in their right mind would give Brother Stare $1 million if you even read anything about him? How all his prophecies have been debunked. How he has this cult with him. How he's literally a child molester. And it just goes on and on and on. How there might have been a few infant deaths linked to his compound. Who in their right mind would give $1 million to this guy? And someone does, And what Brother Stare's appreciation for this guy is? After he gave him $1 million, he says, "All right, we got $1 million. Now, if only we have $60,000 more, then we'll be set." Like $1 million isn't enough. He needs an extra $60,000, And then after he gets the $1 million, he brags about how he bought a new car with some of that money, Why people give him the money, I never know. Are people that stupid? Could I just get on the shortwave and start, spewing out all this stuff and say, "Give me money," and they'll give it to me? Crazy. But it's just it's just a very select audience of money that they target. And these people give them money, so they're able to just get right on air and preach, That's what they do. So I hope that helped. And, they have worldwide coverage, for sure. Worldwide coverage. Absolutely. One moment. Now, continuing on, let's see what we got next. Hey, man. I know I'm just some random guy on the internet, but I just wanted to say I really appreciate all of your work that you put into your videos. I've been dealing with depression and pretty bad anxiety myself for the last year or so, and your videos have been a good escape for me. I know how hard it can be when a depression clouds your judgment, but I know you can get through it with time. Have you thought about meditating? I've tried it and found it to be a good relaxing time to collect my thoughts and emotions. I've done this due to some cognitive behavioral therapy, and I found that helps to understand your emotions. I hope you know that even during your worst times, you still have thousands of silent fans that are behind you through everything. I hope everything gets better. Well, thank you. And, let's see. I've done some meditating, the sevenfold breath, as they say, where you sit there, you breathe 7 seconds, inhale, exhale, hold for 7, and close your eyes and do it for a few minutes. And they said it works. I've heard it, and it's calmed me down a bit, but something I don't do much of anymore. My real catharsis is either one of two things now that really kind of helps me out. A, night walks, or B, just being with the people you can actually, connect with and talk to, and those closest to you. Sometimes you can kind of share your emotions with them and be able to talk about things you wouldn't be able to say with others, So I've tried it in a sense. I mean, not, hardcore Zen meditation. Now let's see what we got next. I guess it's okay. Okay. Hey, Review Bro, just watched your latest review on the Chili Nut M&Ms and noticed your comment about your doubts about the channel recently. Made me remember your current VORW about making sure you let broadcasters know that you appreciate their channel rather than just viewing and staying silent. And I must admit, I am guilty of this when it comes to your channel, so I decided to send you this message. I just wanted to say that I appreciate your work and effort that goes into your channel. Your reviews and VORW show are something I look forward to at the end of the day. Whenever you choose to pursue a career as public or as a YouTube channel or radio broadcast, you are always going to attract trolls and haters, as I'm sure you well know by now. Just keep your head up and remember that for every annoying kid that sends you a hateful message, there are 10 people who appreciate your hard work and enjoy your reviews and VORW show. It is always the worst people who yell the loudest for attention. Most of us who appreciate the show are silent as I was till now. Keep up the good work and keep your head up held high. From Francis in the UK. Well, thank you, Francis. Thank you for writing. And I guess it is true. I'm pretty neat that you actually listen to what I said about writing to the broadcasters, and that's true. Really, really interesting, I think. I mean, there is a silent majority who watches these VORW shows. I mean, at most, there's maybe 50 letters, 50, 60 letters per show to read. There's, 3,500 people who watch this, and maybe even 3,500, 4,000, who watch these VORW shows. I don't get 4,000 letters. I'd go as far as to say that, probably 90 to 95% of people who watch this have never written in. But I guess there is a silent majority. I mean, I couldn't personally say what every one of the, 3,500 people who watch this think and say. I mean, honestly, if you just watched it to just, laugh at me for 3 hours, I gotta give you a pat on the back for your resilience. I do. But, very interesting. I remember one time back in 2014, there was actually this one guy and his group of friends, I made, everyone loves the average day. When are you going to make that average day video game review, bro? When's the average day going to be? When's it coming out? Everyone loves the average day video. And back in 14, there was actually someone and his friends who actually made me say I'm never going to do an average day video ever again. And I reconsidered and changed my mind, of course, but it was still very demoralizing at the time. where this guy and his group of friends actually watched, like, you ever hear of Mystery Science Theater 3000, MST3K? It was a popular show in the 90s that everyone loves it again. It's like the Doctor Who of 2016 or whatever. Everyone loves that show now. Oh, MST3K. Oh, yeah. It's a great show. I mean, I watched it before it was all crazy. I was watching it back in '07 when I was younger, of course, but still. Well, anyways, the fact of the matter is that show, the premise of it was, it was popular in the 90s, the show was, and it stopped like in the late 90s. But, it was these kind of three characters who'd just sit there and watch these old movies and make fun of them throughout the whole duration of the film. But they were funny, at least. I found a video in 2014 that took the 2014 average day video, all 45 minutes of it, just had this guy and his friends just literally just bashing it at every corner. It wasn't even funny, it was just hateful. And they did it the whole 45 minutes. I mean, they analyzed every little thing in it, just attacked me, made fun of it, and 45 minutes long. Maybe it's still up, maybe it's not, but it was a horrible excuse for a video, and it was very demoralizing, but, it is resilience right there to actually sit through the whole thing and just, do that. That I will say. Chili Nut M&M's food review, a real rough week. There is nothing to be said about people who would send messages that vile. They're not worth your time, as their contribution to the conversation is non-existent. You must determine what is best, but remember all the enjoyment you provide to the actual fans, and take encouragement from that. Perhaps a trite quote, but, quote, "This above all, to thine oneself be true. It must follow as the night the day. Thou canst not be false to any man. With sincerest regards, in J.M. Week." Well, thank you for writing, and thank you for that quote. I guess they're not worth my time, Hi, John. Was this the one? Okay, no, alright. Yeah, this was the one. I remember there was a message sent to me that I wasn't going to read on the VORW. It was just, and that was, okay. Alright, I respect that. No worries. Hello there, Review Braun. I just recently came across your channel. I recognize you from that old pizza thumbs up gif. Stuck around a bit to check you out, and I really love your content. Keep watching one review after the next, and find them super entertaining and informative. And the VORWs, I can't get enough of them, especially your more recent, longer ones. I know in your newest videos you expressed a bit of distress, and seem to be rethinking how the show will continue, and I just wanted to send you a bit of encouragement, if this can even be called that. I know myself firsthand how much of a struggle it can be to even take a step in doing something you really love to do. Between not believing in yourself and those few extremely loud people who can really tear you down, I'm not sure what worth there is in saying this, but, despite the few obnoxious nobodies, there's a whole lot of us who really enjoy and appreciate the content you create. I really hope you keep on keeping on. But if it comes down to it, I'd rather know you're happy elsewhere than being dragged down daily by those obnoxious few. Thanks again for all the amazing content, Review Bra, and best of luck in all you do. Thank you for writing. Yep, so, it's, no, it's true, it's better to be happy in a sense, than to be, forcing yourself to do something and just get dragged down and down and down for seemingly nothing. But, as we all know now, I did reconsider, and I said, after reading all these letters, I said, I realize now that there are people out there in good number. Hold on. There are people out there in good number who do support the channel, genuinely. Now there's a lot of a-holes too who don't. But they realize they don't quite outweigh the people who actually enjoy the channel. And I said, for you guys who support it, I'm going to keep doing this for you. And I am. That's the decision I made, that's what I stuck with, and that's what we're doing. Alright? So not to worry, the channel is going to live on. So it's going to live on. Okay, what else do we have here? Hello, Review Bra. Writing in for the second time. Unfortunately, I couldn't remember the question from VORW 117. I don't have the time to look for it. Therefore, I cannot answer, but it is my birthday today, April 27th. I know it was a while ago, but happy birthday, my friend. I'm turning 17 today, and I thought I would write in. On the topic of closing your channel, I know that I personally enjoy your work very much. VORW, running an empty energy crisis, and even the random talk videos. However, if you decide to stop making videos in VORW, I respect that very much. And what is your opinion on gaming and esports? First, I thought it was escorts. I thought, no, that's not the case. Esports. Gaming and esports. I know that you're not a fan of regular sports and the crude people who participate in them typically, but I wonder if you have a different opinion on esports, such as League of Legends, Super Smash Bros. Melee, etc. Thanks for all the content, and keep making VORW, even if you stop making the reviews. Sincerely, long-time listener and watcher, Steve. Well, thank you for writing, Steve. And I do remember you. You've been writing in for a while now. And happy belated birthday. Hope it was a good one. Alright. So, gaming and esports. Now, I'm not going to lie. I know the gaming community is very large and is really big. So I'll sound like an idiot here, but I always thought, esports were like those, like actual, whatever, some, NBA game or NFL game or racing game that you'd play online. But now I see what you mean. I see in regards to those. I'm going to lump the two together, gaming and esports. I don't play any video games anymore, online or with a console, nor have I for years now. I will list comprehensively what I do actually play on the computer. There is only one multiplayer game where you could actually play against me. Right now, let me see if it still. I was playing it last night a little bit. 8-ball pool multiplayer on Miniclip. I still play that one. I haven't played it in a while, but last night I decided to start up again. That's the only game you can actually find me on, and perhaps even play against me on. My username on that game is RepWeekReviewer. Just one word there, and I played a bit on 8-ball pool a while ago. I loaded up the game right now so I can see my statistics. I played, let's see how many games. You just play pool. That's all you do against other people. I played 2,829 games, and I won, 1,340. Mostly I play the tournaments. I've played 650 tournaments in that game. The total time played is equivalent to 6 days, 4 hours. Almost, 6 days of just me sitting there playing pool. But I've had the account since 2013, so I guess that doesn't excuse anything. But, otherwise I just don't play video games. There's just no appeal to me anymore. I was a fan of all the older games. I grew up playing some of the real classics, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask from Zelda. I even played the Wind Waker. That was, I think, mid-2000s. That was early 2000s, the Wind Waker. I think that was 04, maybe a little earlier. The graphics on that one were pretty interesting, different from what you normally saw. What else was there? Oh, I played Pikmin and Pikmin 2. Those ones were very good. You know, I played good old Luigi's Mansion, Mario Kart Double Dash. I even played the Super Smash Brothers Melee on the GameCube back in the day. And then after that, I kind of upgraded to, you know, PS2. And I played Star Wars Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Ace Combat 4, Ace Combat 5, and I think I played one of the... What else? I was a fan of one of the Lara Croft games. I forget which one it was. But anyways, that's as far as I went. I at one point I did get a Nintendo Wii, and I said, you know, let's try this Call of Duty crap. I mean, that's just how I thought of it. I know people really like that game, and I'll respect that. But I tried it out. I forget which game I played, and I just wasn't a fan of it. I just wasn't a fan of all the violence and everything. And the only game I liked on the Nintendo Wii was SimCity Creator, where you just built your own city, managed the taxes, kept up the infrastructure, made the citizens happy, want to move in, built the little residential zones, and the police stations, fire stations, business zones. My city was okay. It was a coastal city, and I had this. It was a sprawling city, really sprawling, and I had on the coast a little downtown area with some real skyscrapers there, and I really worked on that thing, but I haven't played that in about 5 years now. Nor have I really played any game in about 5 years. But I don't hate gamers. I don't. I have nothing against anyone who chooses to play a game. I believe in free will. I believe in wanting to do what makes you happy. And if you enjoy video games, you enjoy getting something out of them, go ahead and play them, Just as I like listening to shortwave radio. Just because you don't like, shortwave radio, I'm not talking about you specifically, but anyone who doesn't like shortwave radio, most people, with the exception of that idiot who messaged me in the last show who I talked about, doesn't say, well, yeah, just because I don't like shortwave radio, I hate it, everyone can't enjoy it. No, not at all. I say, even though I don't play video games, go ahead. If it makes you happy, why not? That's what life's all about. Enjoying those things that make you happy. On to the next. Hello, Report of the Week. I'm writing you because I hope you'll be making a VORW soon. I know you said you'd be unsure if you continued the channel, but if you do, I feel that you are but if you feel that you're wasting your time or just getting too much abuse from the idiots on the internet, I understand. You're my favorite YouTuber. One of the reasons I watch YouTube videos. I'm also started watching food reviews on YouTube. People like Joey's World Tour, who also review fast food and has a different style than you. Anyway, hope you feel better soon and your depression or apathy passes. I look forward to you hopefully continuing VORW soon. I know that the Joey's World Tour, I also mentioned, gets a lot of abuse on YouTube, so you're not the only one that experiences negative comments. Don't take it personally. There are many people who enjoy bullying online. They're cowards, and if you think the people bullying you are decent people, forget that. They're cowards and trash. Well, you're just telling it like it is, That's the fact of the matter. You're just saying it like it is. They are what they are. Salutations, Report of the Week. Now, apparently, Taco Bell are introducing their popular Baja Blast variant of Mountain Dew to stores as of this month. Now, if you've viewed your fair share of Taco Bell products and energy drinks, but I don't think I've ever seen you address this particular beverage, which happens to hit both notes. Now that it's commercially available for a limited time, is there a chance of a Baja Blast review? Kind regards, Shameless Display. That's the username. I didn't realize that. I've been to Taco Bell a few times recently. Imagine you've seen or at least see the reviews pop up in the notifications. I think it's something I can consider doing. I imagine I'll be at a Taco Bell soon enough, and I can just get a Baja Blast, and that'll be that. Get a little review. Just like, remember how I did the Burger King's Frozen Surge, you know? I think this would be something manageable to do without any problem. I don't know if I find it, and if the lazy guys over there are willing to make it, which they usually aren't, but if they are, you'll get that review, don't worry. Oh, by the way, I got a story for you. I just remembered this. I just put it back in my mind, but I got an opportunity to share it. Because now I'm thinking about drinks from Taco Bell. Before that, I just saw it, and I just forgot about it. I never was prompted to bring it up. I mean, I don't usually think about drinks from Taco Bell that much, so that's why. So, I think this is when I was at Taco Bell for the 2 burritos that I got. And I guess it took a little while to prepare them. When I was ordering, I saw this one employee go to one of the, one of those ice machines or whatever, and, where they make the frozen little drinks. And he emptied out one in a big giant cup and just took it, and he, went to the back, just to give himself a drink. And he's drinking, he puts it down, and after I'm waiting for the food to be prepared, someone comes up and wants to order one of those drinks. He says, I'm sorry, the machine's broken right now. And I thought, that's just... I mean, people say, well, they just don't want to clean it. I mean, that thing was on. He was getting some for himself, and, who knows. Okay, what do we got here? I was wondering when the vile children would start to ruin your comments section. Starting to come out in droves since the Tosh episode. Been a subscriber on my other account for over a year. I use this account to give the trolls a taste of their own medicine. Doesn't always work. Sometimes it does. So I'm cool with that. I'm sure the insults get to you. Not only are they redundant, but also juvenile in content. I fear the day that your comment section turns into Joey's. You're a far better reviewer than most, detailed with complex observations of what you're reviewing. It's a nice change from the average. This is a good 10 out of 10 review you get on here. You post some of my favorite content, and it's always a pleasure to see you upload. It's a shame that others would rather comment on your looks and mannerisms and then applaud you for putting out stellar content. Guess that's what happens when kids are allowed on the internet with no supervision. My suggestion, not that you've asked for it, it would be good to focus on VORW for a while and not to tell your audience what it is that you're doing. The VORW shows tend to get the least amount of insults. Give it a month or so of just straight VORW, and then the children will move on to something else. They're fickle and stupid and have the attention spans of gnats. Maybe if things die down, incorporating one running on empty at the tail end of a VORW show and only include it in the description. Possibly throw in an energy drink review if things have died down to a point when you're comfortable posting other content. Because honestly, unless you're monetizing your content, what's the harm that you can get from posting VORW shows for a while? Just my 2 cents. Hope you're well physically and mentally. All the best to you. Thank you. And I think that's an interesting idea. Believe it or not, that's what actually... I actually did something like that back in 2014. And you're right, it works. Back when 4chan was hassling me and I couldn't take it. I didn't do this intentionally, by the way. But I expanded into the VORW show. And I only did VORW show, with a video exception here and there, for just almost a month straight. And guess what happened? The trolls from 4chan got bored and they stopped coming to the channel. And for the rest of 2014, things got cleared up pretty nicely. So yes, you're right, that does work, because none of the people who make these comments really have the attention span to listen to a VORW, and that's true. So actually, I've tried that, and that is a proven strategy. I just got to think about that now if I want to do that or go that route. So we'll see. Thank you for the suggestion, though. It actually is proven to work, and thank you. And on to the next. Howdy, brother. Good to be writing in again. I'm writing in response to your question of why people feel the need to be utterly hateful freaks posting anonymously on YouTube and other forms of social media. The answer, like most questions about why people do what they do, lies in psychology. I personally believe that people are neither good nor all bad. They're a mixture of good and evil. We have tendencies to drift towards both the dark and the light in our experience on Earth, whichever forms the dark and the light tend to take. Where the true definition of, quote, goodness comes into the picture is our ability to control these negative urges we naturally get, instead of giving in to them. I think that when people start posting the real dark and vile stuff on YouTube, for instance, it stems from their inability to fully conceal the dark side of their personalities, which otherwise, through fear and insecurity, isn't allowed to come out in their real lives off the internet. This is a modern problem due to the explosion of social media and the ability people have to act out anonymously and having zero accountability, a problem which is new to the human experience. My advice to you is to realize that what you're seeing on your YouTube threads, for instance, is essentially people's aggressive alter egos playing out before their eyes. Perhaps they've had a terrible day, been bullied, abused, or just have that dark nature within them, and posting on social media allows them to unleash these dark emotions without any real fear of consequence, other than more people typing from behind a screen. Never let this sway you from your course. I, for my part, make music, and I'm very, very used to these types of attacks, as are millions of others who work in the world of creative expression. Rewind the clock, and all we had to worry about bad reviews in a magazine or a newspaper. Now we have to worry about people's psychotic alter egos raving the most hateful speech on social media. Such is evolution, sadly, but never let it sway you. This is the path we chose. We must be strong and continue on without letting that stuff bother us. We'll always win in the end. Ever respectfully, B&K. Thank you for writing. And I think it's true. I think it really does depend on the person. You know, what's interesting, though, is that theoretically, with all the stuff that I get, I guess I just can, going with that theory, I guess I control the alter ego pretty well. Now, back in the day, it was different. But, you think of all the stuff that gets said to me, I could always retaliate and say equally bad stuff back. But I never do that. I always just choose to be silent about it all. Just remove it and sometimes just talk about it curiously here. Okay. On to the next. Got a few more. Okay. Addressed to one Review Bra, host of the channel, the Report of the Week. Hello, Review Bra. Your content is interesting, distinguished, and consistent. I implore you to continue, as I and all my friends greatly enjoy your work, and stay up to date with each release. I enjoy hearing your opinions most of all on VORW. Please do not change the appeal to the judgment of others. Your content is unique, and I urge you never to stop. I consider you a friend of mine and just want to know that your audience in California prefers that you continue to do what you do. This is from a number of individuals. This is from Sage, John, Sarah, David, Duvan, Keishan, David, Mia, Nick, and Alok. Well, thank you all for writing, and I'm glad you all enjoy the VORW. Hope to get this up this Friday night for all your listening pleasure. Do remember that Saturday, of course, we will be getting a review from Pizza Hut, where we will try out their new bacon and cheese stuffed crust pizza. Thank you again for writing. Hey, Review Bra. Dunbay here. I just wanted to tell you, every time you make a food review, I go out the present day or the very next to try that item. I've gained 5 pounds over this course, but I can tell you it is well worth it, and you saved my ass with the Sbarro pizza review. I instead bought the chili M&Ms, which were God-tier candy. Congrats on the 50k subs, and if you can you make a special shout-out to my friend Sam Huff. He absolutely loves your channel and is too shy to send you a message. Thanks and keep it up. Well, certainly, and that's fine. I respect it. I respect one's hesitation to send a message. That's fine, but absolutely, sure. I'd like to give a very formal and official Report of the Week shout-out to this guy's friend, Sam Huff. All right? You have been shouted out and officially and verbally acknowledged on the Voice of the Report of the Week. Thank you for writing. Carrying on. Dude, thank you so much for your channel. You're an inspiration to me, and I'll support you forever. Much love from Cape Town, South Africa. You're a great man. Keep it up. Well, thank you. I know South Africa's been going through a little turmoil recently. Not much anymore, but I know there were a bunch of protests. Bunch of protests. South Africa's got a shortwave presence. They got Channel Africa from Meyerton transmitting station. And then they have another station. Oh, the name escapes me, but it's in Afrikaans, I think the language. Like a national radio, if you will. Thank you for writing, of course. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, we're going to read this one now. There's 3 messages here that came in for the next program. Because we just got to cut it off. I want to just make it the questions or responses that go for, the question I'm asking here, I want to save for the next show, if you understand. And that should be released next week. I was just doing this program to clear up all the letters that I missed in the last one. So that's the purpose of this program. Hello, Review Bra. I'm listening to your newest VORW, and upon hearing you remark that you would close the channel if there weren't for the 5 people who truly watch it, I was a bit sad. Just letting you know that there's another person out there in it for the long haul. Came across your channel recently, but I've really began to experience how deep your influence runs in the comments, message boards, and even in person. I think all the content coming out of your channel is inherently genuine, and for that, among many other factors, it will make me a long-time viewer. Thanks for putting your trust in your viewers. From Dylan. Thank you for writing, Dylan. Dylan writing in. Let's just see now if there's anything here in the filtered or spam folders, because there are some that get in there. Let's see what we got. Just spam in the spam folder, people linking me to those scamming partnerships, all those mediocre ones, that then you look it up and then you see all the people complaining, oh god, I can't get out of this, it's ruining the channel, blah blah blah, Don't want to. That's the reason why I'm a little bit skeptical and almost against partnerships in a sense. I'd rather independently monetize and be in a partnership, because the last thing I ever want to do is sign my channel and my life away. People always sign themselves to a partnership, and there are some good, reliable ones. A lot of them are just crappy. They sign themselves to a partnership, and they say, "Oh, well, we're, it's going to make you that cash money. You're gonna be able to get a Lambo after this. You're gonna be, you'll be able to get, a $20,000 Brooks Brothers suit and walk around in. You're gonna be able to." I don't know, we'll get you that stupid haircut where they shave the sides and slick the top back, grow a mustache. You're gonna be, that guy that you're walking and everyone's head's gonna be turning because you partnered with us. And they give you that impression. They say, oh, we've been partnered, with NBC and Disney and the NBA and all this stuff. And they make you seem like you're gonna be drowning in cash after it. Then you sign yourself up and they just end up taking your money, and that's it. At least some of them do. They just screw it up. So I just am very, very skeptical of partnerships on YouTube. And I've been getting partnership offers almost daily from a different organization for 3 years straight. And I just sent them all to the spam folder and delete them. Never responded to a single one. But no, they try. They try, and I make sure they know where they belong. Anyways. I love your videos. My boyfriend recently messaged or commented asking your age and said that you responded that it's hard for people to take you seriously. I wanted to say I hope he didn't insult you, and I'm sorry. We meant it as a compliment. I think it's awesome that you have such a great channel, and I wish I did something in my early 20s. You're great. My friends and I work as nurses at night, and we love your show. Can't wait for your next video. And if you come to New York City, please review our favorite food spot, known as, quote, Milk Burger, unquote, as it deserves a good review. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for writing. And, so many people ask me about the age, genetics. Hey, that's all I can say. Genetics. Influences how you look, and you can't do anything about it. Usually deals with, different abilities, different mental capacities, just what you're born with, just how you are, and that's it. Genetics, there's different tiers of genetics, of course. You get, all sorts. You get it's just what you're, imagine right now, you get a coin right now, okay? Get a coin, flip it. What would that be? Heads? Alright, you were born a Chad. Flip it again. Tails? Alright, this baby was born otherwise. That's how it is. That's literally how genetics work, pretty much. Alright. Fact of the matter. Random. Deals with, of course, your parents. Parents beforehand, and so on and so forth. Who did what with who back years and years ago. Influences what you have and what you are. Say you're born with, I know people always try to speak good of this, and they say, oh, it's the best genetics you can have. But say you're born with blonde hair and blue eyes, and you say, yeah, but I don't like my blue eyes. I mean, yeah, there might be some procedures now. You can get the color changed, perhaps, maybe not, or wear some sort of contact over them. But that's genetics. Your height is genetics. Someone, they act like you're, if you're not 6'3" minimum, you're gonna get put in some death camp because you just don't even deserve to walk around. I mean, I see. When I'm out and about, maybe it's just a New York thing. I don't know, but people aren't that tall over here. I don't know. When you see someone who's walking around 6'3", they're like a freaking giant. It's like Land of the Giants. They're just looming over everyone. I'd hate to be that tall. I'd stand out. Everyone would be looking at me. It'd be horrible. I don't know. Most adults over here aren't even 6 feet. Maybe it's just a New York thing, as I said. I don't know. But that's the fact of the matter. And also, the way you look is genetics. That talks about facial structure, bone structure, aesthetics, and all that. The way you style yourself can be different. That's, of course, not determined by genetics. But I look how I look. I got a baby face. That's how it is. It's annoying, yeah. But I'm not going to change how I dress and everything to make myself look older. I enjoy looking as I am. And, whenever someone, what I actually did in the comments section, whenever anyone uses the word old, I have like a filter right now. If anyone says a certain word, their message is automatically removed and sent to a special folder where I approve or disapprove them. And if anyone mentions the word old, because I got so sick of those messages asking how old I am, it just goes to that folder and I just delete them all at this point in time. Maybe I'll answer one or two here and there, but I just figure, if these people want to know how old I am, just search through the comments and we'll find it. Oh well, it is what it is. This person says don't feature. Okay, don't feature it on the VORW. No worries. I respect that. These two are for the next one. So let's approve those. I don't know why they got in there. You're good. You're good. Okay. So what do you guys think of that wildfire in Canada? Huh? The Fort McMurray one. You know, I don't know if you read about that or heard about it or saw some of the videos or WebMs of it. I saw one video. This guy, he was driving in traffic of all things through this fire, and you could just see it was raining down on these burning embers and all that. You know, crazy. You know, it's surprising that nobody's died. This fire is just exponentially, expanding, and really gonna probably cause some damage to Canada's oil prices. One of the only people I communicate with, I've mentioned him in previous VORWs if you're a real long-time listener. He lives up in Canada, in Ontario. I sometimes talk to him online. And I asked him the other day what his thoughts are on the Fort McMurray fire. And he told me that the Jews were responsible for it. That's all he had to say. The real fact of the matter is that the Fort McMurray area is like a Canadian boom town in the oil area of Alberta, and it is a real old growth forest. And there was already warning beforehand about about the fact that there was a real risk of fire. As for the cause, they don't know, nor maybe they ever will. But they said there was no lightning in the area, but it was extremely hot, there were winds, and it could have been anything. Could have been someone throwing their cigarette butt out the window. Could have been someone throwing their joint out the window. Doesn't matter one way or another. It could have been someone intentionally starting it with a lighter. Literally could have simply been the process of decomposition when something is that hot. You never know. It could have just started on its own, just through friction. One may never know, but they said it was not started by lightning. But really, if you're curious about that, look up any videos of the Fort McMurray fire, any pictures. It's morbidly beautiful. It really is. You see those giant black clouds of smoke with the red of the flames and everything in the distance. It's absolutely beautiful to watch. Even those people driving through the fire, with all the smoke and the flames on either side of the road. I think that's beautiful in a sense, but very not necessarily morbidly, but just destructively. It's destroying the place. It's still beautiful to look at, but I'd never actually wish that to ever happen. Despite what it may look like. There actually is a shortwave station in Calgary, Canada. I think that's in Alberta. And they're very low powered, though. It's one of those Canadian stations I was talking about in the earlier program about the future of shortwave. And it just made me think if they have any special programming because of the fire. I bet they have some bulletins at least where they might, talk about evacuation routes or centers or what's going on. They might provide some news about that. You never know. Or they might not. Let's see now what we got next. Okay. 18th. So we got to find all the emails now after April 18th. Let's do it. Okay, let's see. Let's just mark them all off. Okay, we got one there. 2. I think I already got this one, though. Yeah, I already got this one. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5. This one I think I already did. From Jared, the only Jared that writes. Titled VORW Fan Mail Letter. Sent on the 20th of April. If you're listening and I didn't read that one, let me know. Okay, what about... got this one here. And this one. And this one. This one. And this one. What else we got? This one. When did the last VORW come out? May the 2nd? That late? Okay. Let's see. Let's keep going then. Let's keep going. There, May 1st. Okay. Alright, got a bunch of emails to read from some great people. Let's begin. Hello. I'm just a big fan of the show. I had a couple questions I hope you wouldn't mind answering. Do you have a Panda Express near you? I'm a personal fan and I was wondering your opinion. I'm not sure if it's... I don't know if I have a Panda Express. I know what that is. Let's see where the nearest one is. Let's see. Nothing too close. There's a bunch down in the city. And, you know, if you go down to the city, that can be a fun time. I remember I was down in the city a little while ago. I went to Villa Pizza, which is awful. This homeless guy comes in there and start fighting with the owner there. He's like, I'm gonna break your effing back or whatever. That was just another day in the city. Are you a fan of movies? I really enjoy your delivery of each episode, and I would be interesting to see if it applied to other media. Not the biggest moviegoer. I did watch a film the other day, actually. I always like to share what films I watch because it's such a rarity for me. But I did. I mean, a while ago I watched a film with English subtitles, Der Untergang, which is about, you know, the last days of Hitler in the Führer bunker. I think that's what they called it. You know, the bunker that was underneath the streets of Berlin where Hitler and his highest-ranking officers resided in their last days. It was a very interesting film, I thought. I think it gave a very interesting look at what was going on as the Soviets were, you know, taking over Berlin. I thought that was a very, very interesting film. But another film that I watched, and you're gonna say, review bra, are you kidding me? You didn't watch this already? And I say, yeah, that's true. This is the first time. It's a film I've been meaning to watch. Don't take me wrong there. I just never got around to it. It was the original from 2012. That's right, I'm 4 years late now. Yeah, 4 years late now. But I got to it finally. The original Hunger Games movie, I watched it finally. The original Hunger Games movie. I thought it was an interesting film. Let me put it this way right now. I think the Hunger Games series was really just meant for movies. That's what I think. I think it... I read the original Hunger Games novel, too, and saw the movie. And I think the movie version is so much better than the book. And I think it's just one of those... usually it says, oh, the book is so much better than the movie. This time I say the movie's better than the book. And I think it made for a good action film. I thought the film was good. You know, the premise was a little silly. Why they had to be, you know, teenage warriors instead of getting full-bodied adults for the combat, which would have made for more interesting battles. But I guess for an intimidation factor, because everyone values the nation's youth and everything. I thought the outfits in the movie were pretty crazy. I will say the guy, the old drunk Haymitch, his was my favorite outfit in the movie. And if you remember how he dressed, you'll know why. Because he was the only person who actually wore a detachable wing collar and necktie in the film. He actually did. He wore a detachable wing collar with a necktie, and you know how I greatly favor that look. And the only other person who I thought had good outfits was the guy, President Snow. He wore like an imperial stand-up collar with like a cravat sometimes, and black. It was nice. Everyone else was a mess, just too colorful, too much garbage going on. The film was okay, though. Also finishes it off by saying, have you ever considered putting your material on a public access channel? Where I live, a lot of locals put on shows on TV when they can be watched online/Apple TV as well. Thanks for your time, from Alex. Well, thank you for writing, Alex, and no, I've never really considered going the public access route. I just don't know how many people watch that stuff. I always go late at night. I sometimes check out the public access at 3 a.m. And usually, in this part, it's always some guy just with some religious program just talking unintelligibly. The camera that's even worse quality than mine. And it makes me wonder, am I the only person watching this? And sometimes I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure I am. But, I mean, if it's dirt cheap, what harm is done, If it's dirt cheap. Probably charge like $100 per show, and, they probably just keep saying when people buy public access stuff here, they just say, sucker, Thanks for the cash. Who knows, though? Hey, John, what's up? I was listening to your VORW on the way to work, and I noticed you discovered the Gronk drink but couldn't find it. As you know, I'm a monster aficionado, and got some interesting monster news coming up. Anyway, I sent you a screenshot. You never got back to me on the ones I sent, so I figured you ended up getting your hands on them. I know you are the review guy, but let me take a moment to walk in your shoes for a second and do a quick review of my own. First of all, Gronk is the most utterly absurd name for a monster. Besides, I am a New York Giants fan. As far as I can tell, the can itself is equally ridiculous. It has a picture of Gronkowski overshadowing the monster emblem in the artwork. The drink itself is nothing special. I actually can't wait for you to review it, because you're going to laugh at what it tastes like. I kid you not, it's a direct rip-off of a Red Bull. It is exactly what it is. I would even go as far as to use the Report of the Week line, quote, crappy. Either way, if you need a can, you can't find it, email me or give me a buzz, and I'll send you a couple, no charge. Talk to you soon. Thank you for writing. This is another individual who's been with the channel for a long time, years and years. I was gonna write him back. As soon as he wrote me, I was gonna say that would be great, but I just never got the chance to. I don't know, I guess I guess I put it off myself. Just my mind was in other places at the time. If the offer still stands, let me know. Let me know, because I'd be very interested in attaining that can. Monster themselves, the company, they're a bunch of hypocrites. I'll tell you that. They sent me an email the other day. No, actually today, a few hours ago. They sent me an email saying, you're a key influencer, and we'd love to send you some experimental drinks to try. And I'm thinking about just deleting that email and just saying, you guys just go ask someone else, just out of spite. And I don't know if I'm going to do that. I might just not reply. Maybe I'll take the offer. But they're a bunch of hypocrites. And Reason being is because I talked to them about a year or two ago, asking them about products, and they just said, all snobby. They said, "Oh no, we don't cater to reviewers like you." And now here they are trying to say, "Well, you're an influencer. We'd love to have you try these drinks." I don't know. I just want to kind of, not even reply to them. But I know I'd be missing out on something. But still, I guess that's that negative part of me that kind of wants to go out, and I'm gonna have to suppress that. But I want to just tell them, in a more kinder way than this. But I want to say, yeah, screw off, you hypocrites. But I guess I'll eventually take their offer too. I don't know. Something I gotta flip on. Maybe I'll flip a coin and decide. Okay. Oh, this is a trio of messages. Okay? This is a trio. So this guy, he really wanted to write it. He wrote me 3. Okay. Yo, review diggity dog. In response to your last question, which you asked, I would much rather journey to the future and rendezvous with my descendants. My rationale for this choice is that nothing I do in the future could negatively affect me when I return. I could steal, fight, and essentially treat it like an open-world video game. I could also steal future trends and increase my capital on my return through exploiting this knowledge. As Ty Lopez says, knowledge is power, money is fuel. And don't worry, review bro, when I return from my travels, I'll fill up my fuel tank with all cash, and I'll be making ka-chang. I know you love the style of having multiple questions, so here's a few. What is your favorite film and why? Well, to answer that, I'm not a film person, and I'm just not a film person, so I don't really have a favorite film. But I guess if in the last year, the films I watched, I'd have to say The Hunger Games, maybe. Just because that's one of the only films I watched. I thought it was, again, an interesting action film. 2, are you happy with your workstation/office? Paint us a picture of how messy it is, etc. Well, it's not, I can't paint a picture, but it's, just imagine this. There's papers everywhere, alright? Papers and stacks of papers everywhere. What is your mental image of your typical viewer? Well, alright, the typical viewer at this point in time, not just the VORW audience. You gotta remember, not just the VORW audience. Okay? But, because that'd be a totally different picture. But, you gotta say, well, out of all the viewers, maybe 2/5, maybe 2/5 of them all. Well, let's just count, averaging between all, 4 million or whatever views I get and all the 50,000 subscribers. What would the average one look like? I'd say he's got to be probably in his 20s. It's male. There's a ratio between male and female. It's around 80% male viewers and like 20% female. That's just the ratio. So it would more often than not be male. Age would be in his 20s. I imagine he would be around, I'd say between 5'8" and 6'3", around that height, pretty average height for the most part. I picture him, let's start from the feet up. I picture him wearing maybe some type of loafers with no socks, wearing that with gray skin-tight jeans, no drape, just utterly, wrapped around the leg like a woman's leggings, wearing those. With that, he'd probably maybe have like a button-down shirt kind of tucked in. The shirt's got to be patterned, by the way. I had a patterned button-down shirt, maybe like a white with a black, like checkered pattern or something. And he'd wear that with a brown cardigan, probably buttoned. They can't match, by the way. His back pocket will be almost bursting at the seams from his smartphone hastily tucked in there. And from the neck up, he's you can't really determine how his face actually looks because of a big bushy beard that covers it. He does have a waxed mustache. Eyes can be varying color. You can't fully make out the nose because of the fullness of the mustache. And his hair, he's got both of the sides completely shaved and the back shaved. And the hair on the top of his head is several inches long, and he always likes to slick that back. You know, don't they call that sometimes an undercut? Sometimes there might be a tiny part in there, but usually it's a straight up slicked back. And, you know, that's what I think the average looks like. Maybe you all got a few laughs out of that. Maybe you actually fit that criteria. Who knows? Only reason I say that is because I actually, at one point in time, actually saw someone who considered themselves to be a viewer, and that's exactly what he looked like. And so I figure, well, I guess that's the average viewer for you. I imagine there's a greater variance than just that, but it seems like that's what every male in his 20s looks like now. You know, that's what everyone goes with. That's the big thing. Just like how mullets were popular, you know, back in the 80s. This is what's popular today, and this is the mullet of the 2010s, truly. Do you dislike children? I don't dislike children. I dislike modern parenting, and here we go. You know, it's going to be the real attack against me because I said that now. But I'm not talking about every parent. I just dislike the style of modern parenting. When people give their little, you know, 4-year-olds and 5 and 6-year-olds, and I think any child under the age of 13 should not own a smartphone, and their computer usage should be monitored with the parents and via parental controls. Because I think it's the fact of the matter. Fact of the matter is that it just contributes to the problem. Now the parents today, you know, because now they're addicted to smartphones. They figure, let me just give that little prick, you know, a smartphone, and he'll just shut up, and you know, he'll just be on his smartphone at 4 years old or 5, and he won't cry or anything. Let him just browse the internet, you know. And they do that, and they get the children addicted to smartphones at an early age, and it outrages me. When I see, you know, the parent with all their little kids, each one has their own little smartphone, you know. And when you see the 5-year-olds, I mean, dead serious. If you want to look for yourself, go to YouTube, type in webcam, and sort it by date uploaded, and you'll see these webcam videos coming up to YouTube by the second, you know. And you're going to see, I mean, you'll see some things you'd rather not want to see, but you'll see these webcam videos from a little 5-year-old who's making YouTube videos. I think it's just all too young. I think the internet is a place that breeds, just absolutely breeds degeneracy. Children are innocent, and it will corrupt them, and I just can't see that playing out real well in their later years, because childhood is one of the most substantial periods of growth, both physically and mentally, for children. You know, and I think that there could be whatever you're influenced by as a child will shape you as an adult in one way or another. Not fully, as I say, like Sigmund Freud does, where he says, you know, childhood is everything. But I think that childhood is important. And, you know, because of that, I think a lot of these kids that are now growing up online, you know, they already have their own little Facebook profile and everything, and just free reign over the internet. If they know what 4chan is, they can go over there, they can see all the talk about this and that, and they can see the graphic images of people, you know, getting their head chopped off by ISIS, or, you know, all the pornography on that site. And they're just being exposed to things which they should not be exposed to at such a young age. So I don't hate children. I think they can be quite annoying, but I hate the method of parenting today. Now I should say that helicopter parenting is a problem also, and giving everyone their own little trophy and everything gives them an unfair view of life. Makes people think that everything's gonna you can do anything and you're all gonna be in the workplace, you're all going to be rewarded exactly the same. But that's not the case. I think, it should be whoever works the hardest gets rewarded. Not just if you sit on your butt and do nothing, you get the same reward as someone who, someone who actually worked for whatever it may be. But hey, that's another story. That's a problem too. I think parenting should give the children some freedom. And, but it should be kind of accurate too. I think parenting should prepare the kids for the real world, and not just leave them in la la land or give them total free reign, like giving them a smartphone is. The internet is a frontier, and you let someone go on there who's too young, unfiltered, they're gonna find some stuff, all right, very very easily, and that's just my view. I know many consider it to be distorted, and screw you, review bra. But as I always say, stay true to yourself and what you believe, because I think that's one of the most important things. Don't give in, don't give up. Whatever you believe in is what you believe in, and I respect that. And if you think of it very contrary, as I said, stay true to yourself and what you believe. Unless a person wants to change their ideology, Well, this guy writes 2 more letters. Hey, John Bellotti. I have figures out you lives in America. I have figures out that you are called John Bellotti. This is an official blackmail message. Please send $100 to blank@gmail.com via PayPal. Oh, and by the way, great videos, very entertaining for me when I feel depressed. Your fan and hopeful friend, Gustav. So thank you, Gustav, and assuming nothing more comes of it, I guess we'll let the blackmail slide. And one final message from him. Dear Marlboro man, I've been smoking for about 3 years now, and Marlboro is definitely my favorite brand. Thanks for all the hard work you put in to create the finest southern tobacco treats. Your pal, Cosimo. And thank you, and I don't know, would I be the Marlboro cowboy? Wasn't he a cowboy? Let's see. Yep, and the Marlboro cowboy. And on to the next. Hi, Review Bra. To answer your question in VORW 118, I would prefer to visit my ancestors. I figure it would be less depressing than visiting my family's descendants. Imagine going to the future only to find your family has become stupid, hateful, or disgustingly ugly. You'd forever question where things went wrong and begin to doubt yourself. On the other hand, if you met your ancestors and they were horrible people, you would be happy to know your family has only gotten better. If your ancestors weren't horrible, but instead awesome, you could be proud of where you came from and might even gain some role models. Now, I have a question for you, Review Bra. Have you considered adding a small clip of theme music to your program, such as the Yankee Doodle song you mentioned in regards to the Voice of America? If you were to do this, what song would you use? I'm curious what tune you think might epitomize VORW. Many thanks for the hours of entertainment you provide. I'm glad to hear you are pursuing opportunities in hopes of improving your life. Wishing you all the best, your friend Tim. Well, thank you, Tim, for writing. I think that's very interesting, to have a little tune like that. They call that an interval signal, which is kind of the tune that kind of represents a shortwave station. It's what they're known by, or known for, Let's check the time. I don't think we'll be able to hear any interval signals right now. I think Well, it's 10 minutes to the top of the hour. In 5 minutes or so, we'll turn on the radio so I can provide a couple examples, maybe, of interval signals. At least I know of one. And it's a little tune to recognize the station for, Maybe I'll just play a few examples of them now, because it's very variable what you could hear on the shortwave at the moment. I'm not sure what I would play. Maybe something a little jazzy, maybe. Because I think people using the standard beat, of some other pop aspect is just getting not old. Everyone loves that stuff, but the fact of the matter is that everyone uses it, and doesn't really make anything special anymore. It's always the same thing, and then you get or something else, or some more electronic, aspect, but it's always the same thing, exactly the same every time. Yeah, interval signals can be very, very interesting, actually. It's a little tune that the shortwave stations use in order to signify themselves. That they're that they're signing on or signing off, and always very, very interesting. That's what I think, at least. It's something that you only hear on the shortwave bands nowadays. Never anywhere else. And that's just the simple fact of the matter. I'm not going to wait, 10 minutes. So let's just play. I'm going to play a few interval signals for now, if you'd like. Just for a few examples, just that what it kind of is, and some of the tunes. That the Voice for America uses Yankee Doodle as it's his interval signal, and of course an interval signal is used by a shortwave station that usually plays at the beginning and the end of a broadcast, so that people tuning in will know that this station, is now signing on. It's a way, specifically using an analog receiver with a little dial, to find the station you want to hear. So, for instance, this is an interval signal. Let's hope it comes out good. From Radio Romania International. They always play this for a few minutes before they sign on. Let's see. Hope this works. That's, of course, with some fading in the signal. There's another station, Vatican Radio. They have an interval signal that they'll play as well. Let's see. Let's find a good recording of it here. Here's some Vatican Radio. They play that as their interval signal. There's Deutsche Welle. They have an interval signal as well that they play. The BBC actually has an interval signal, but it's pretty... Well, they have one that's the bells. That one's cool. The other one is pretty pathetic. I don't know which one this is. This is the bell one. This one I like. This is what they sign on with the BBC nowadays, usually. I'll play two more. There's All India Radio. They have these long, droning sitars as their interval signal, which I think is pretty neat. That's all India Radio, and then finally we'll finish it off with the Voice for America. Of course, this is their Yankee Doodle piece.
This is the Voice of America, Washington, D.C., signing off.
Well, you get the image. How there's all sorts of differentiating interval signals that are still used today. You know, all those interval signals are what are currently used today, and there's plenty more. Most stations still use them, and it's one of those things that, you know, you never hear on AM or FM radio or any other medium, but shortwave still uses the interval signals. It's another one of those little fun things that only shortwave has at this point. Anyways, thank you for writing, Tim. Okay. Hey, Review Bra, first of all, your April Fool's joke scared the hell out of me. I know it's a bit late, but it really did. I contemplated finally writing you after you posted the video. What made me decide to sit down and actually write you should be credited towards one of your latest VORWs, where you talked about the importance of writing those whose work you enjoy. So you're great, blah, blah, blah. Anyone with sense knows that. My question is, are you aware that you are a bit famous? I recently realized that you have about 49,000 followers, and just as followers, that's bigger than the size of an average MLB stadium. He says, not many people know how to utilize YouTube, myself included. In my estimation, there are likely millions of people who have viewed your videos. Have you ever been approached on the street? Seems like you prefer to live on the down low, but surely you've been approached in person by fans. It's not like you can go, quote, undercover in public since you wear suits every day. So, I guess sometimes I see that, but usually it just shocks me. As I was actually reading these letters, I was actually, thinking to myself, I can't believe all these people are actually just writing to me. I mean, I just, in my life, I've just never seen anything like it. It's still shocking to me. I don't think it's anything I'm ever going to get over. It's just shocking to me. I've always been, throughout my whole school career, I've always been the nobody that, no one cares about or talks to or anything. And then here we are with, 50,000 people on YouTube following me and millions others who have seen the videos. It shocks me because and this goes up with the whole concept of, not to extremes, but sometimes when you're younger, how things could influence you. The fact of the matter is, being that, never being the popular kid, in school or whatever, being the nobody, has resonated with me in my life. So having all this on YouTube, it just shocks me. It's never something that I say, yeah, bring it on, come on, keep subscribing, get me to 51,000 now, come on, I want more. To me, it's just shocking, and I just question why 50,000 people would even watch this stuff. I mean, I couldn't think of any reason why anyone would want to hear me speak for 3 hours. I don't think I have anything worth saying, but people do, and people enjoy it, so I continue on. Same thing with reviews, I'll sit there for 10 minutes and talk about something. Just shocks me that people would, waste. That's what I think. I think it's waste of time to watch any of my stuff. But again, I guess people just see something in this channel that I just don't, never have seen. That's just the creator's standpoint. just shocks me. Shocks me that all these people actually listen and write in to just what I'm saying. It's crazy. It's just insane. It's literally unfathomable. It's been years now, and I still can't even wrap my head around it as to why. I mean, I understand more than anything else the aspect, that we've covered. We've really just milked it to no end at this point in the last few shows, but so I won't mention it much. But the aspect of people watching the channel to make fun of it, I understand that. But anything contrary, it still puzzles me. I mean, I see all the messages, and I see what thousands of people say. But even then, I just don't normally see what anyone else sees. It's just surprising to me. It really is. I don't get it. When I was a boy, when I was younger, of course, let's think now. About 15 or so years ago, when I was a younger person, I remember just walking around during lunch break, at school. I just remember walking around by myself, just kind of while everyone else was running around and having fun with the other kids. I just walk around in the in the field and the playground by myself, kind of dragging my feet around, just looking at my feet. And I was that kid, I don't know. I never would have believed myself if I said, in 15 years from now you're going to be, have all these people. I said, no, I wouldn't use that language back then. I would have said, no, what are you talking about? It's not going to happen. It's crazy. It's something I can't wrap my head around. I mean, I know what the channel is, I know how it is, but it's just something I still can't grasp, nor will I ever grasp. And yeah, I have been approached by people. If you watched the latest review, you saw that guy actually come in, and for all you who watched that review where I was sitting there in public and the guy walks in and says, "Hey, dude, I haven't seen you since high school, dude," and all that. Alright, this is maybe one of the perks of listening this far into VORW. You kind of get the backstory behind everything that other people wouldn't get. Here's the backstory of it. People comment, this guy was just an old high school friend of Review Bras. I'm going to be dead honest with you right now. When this guy walked up and started talking to me, I'd never seen him before in my life. And that's just the simple truth. The guy said, "I haven't seen you since high school, dude." I just kind of nodded. I was like, yeah, high school. But I had never seen this guy before in my life. I didn't recognize his voice. I didn't recognize how he looked. I've never seen this person before in my entire life. Never. I have never seen him. He was a complete stranger to me, and I just went along with it. That's my method of dealing with people and keeping any encounter very brief and concise. You just go along with it, and you just say the minimal amount of words. And that's how you kind of dismiss people really quick. And if you watch, that's what I did. I just went along with it, acted, real happy for him. And said the minimal amount of words, and that was it. He seemed like a nice, fairly nice person. But I've never seen him before. The whole people saying he's a high school friend of his, I've never seen him before. Dead honest. I mean, I've been out of high school for a few years now. I don't know if he was in my graduating class. I don't know if he was in a grade below or above me or what. Or if he's still in high school. And that wouldn't make sense. But, I don't know. Never seen him before. But, I've been recognized. Usually, from the Tosh.0 thing, usually it's very simple. Yo, Tosh.0. I don't know, some guy will just say that to me. With exact dialogue consisting thereof. Anyways, one more question, he says. In your videos, do you decide what you're going to rate the product as soon as you are done consuming it, or do you contemplate what you are going to rate it as you discuss the flavor and price, etc.? Sincerely, Jacob. Well, thank you, Jacob. Normally the latter. Usually I contemplate it while I'm talking about it. I let it sink in, factor everything together, so while I'm talking, I'm also working in my mind as to what I'm going to rate it. On to the next. Hi there, John, review bro, or humble narrator, or whatever your preferred name. As a proud supporter via Patreon, I'm glad to see you're maturing in content, organization of broadcasts, and as a human. It's a real pleasure listening to VORWs while I work and drive. What movie or show can make you laugh when you're in almost any mood? For me, check it out if Dr. Steve Brule does the trick. I remember hearing that you enjoy that show as well. As a sufferer of depression and anxiety, I find that books, radio shows, movies, and TV help tremendously. Music, on the other hand, can affect my mood depending on the genre, so I have to be careful what I listen to, as I consider myself to be sensible to music in that regard. So, what makes you laugh? What grabs your goose? What cooks your turkey? Anxiously awaiting your response. Have a lovely weekend and enjoy every moment, good or bad. All the best from Ryan, quote, Wobbleburger, unquote, from Texas. So thank you, Mr. Wobbleburger. Thank you for writing in, and thank you for your question. So, I'm not a big television person, as you well know. More of a radio person, but there is one television show that I'll sometimes watch and that I sometimes do get a good laugh out of. And that is on True TV, and it's called, what's the name of that show? Oh, it's called Impractical Jokers on True TV. I just find that show very, very funny and very amusing, and I just think it's quite the funny show. Impractical Jokers on True TV. The only other show that I watch is Fear the Walking Dead, and that's it. And Fear the Walking Dead isn't the most humorous show, though oftentimes it can be so bad it is humorous, and you just gotta say, why'd they do that, Thank you for writing. Okay, thank you, if you're listening. Thank you, Mr. DKS. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. On to the next. No, I clicked on the wrong email. That was just some offer. This person just also offered me to send me a few cans of Monster Gronk. Thank you for the offer, Craig. I'll have to see how the other offer does first, and we'll see. On to the next. Hello again. After seeing your recent video, I thought I would send you a quick message to send some love your way. Hang tough, and do not regard the haters. What you decide to do with your channel is up to you, of course, but I really hope you do not stop making videos. Your videos have really helped me through my own personal tough times and are one of the few things I look forward to in life and enjoy. I consider you a friend. Feel free to hit me up if you ever want to talk. Take care. Thank you for writing. A regular writer and a real great supporter of the channel. Really shocking, all these, just the sheer number of people who, say that they do support the channel. Really, really surprising. That's the thing that really made me change my mind about the channel. I saw all these people writing in, and I said, maybe people really do care about the channel, and not just watch it to laugh at it. That's what really made me change my mind for the 50,000 subscribers. Okay. Hey, Review Bra. Heard about what's going down, and I can't believe it. I'm not sure if this is the email I can use to contact you, but I hope this gets to you. Well, it got to me. I found your channel a couple years ago thanks to some tard on 4chan. I'm happy I got on and found that thread when I did, because I'm not sure I would have found your channel otherwise. Your content is amazing. Took me a few videos to get used to your style, but your originality combined with your quirkiness is by far some of the best I've ever seen on YouTube. I've watched you get more comfortable, improve your presence in videos. Yeah, you've come a long way. Now don't let some B-tards or crappy YouTube trolls or whatever is going to give you trouble get to you. Their threats are as empty as their lives. You've brought me hours of entertainment, and I hope to see many more. Please excuse any errors in writing. I should be studying for a math final, but my brain is fried. Don't let the trolls win, brah. We're all going to make it. From a brah in Utah. Thank you, Utah viewer. And just telling it like it is. Their threats are just as empty as their lives. Hey, he said it best. He said it best. A viewer from 4chan who was converted. You know, some people start off as being ironic viewers, just to make fun of it, but then they fall into the trap. And yeah, great to have you aboard. One, two, three, four, five, six. Six, I think, though. Maybe 5 or 4, because a few of them might be something else. Your channel was featured in a video called The 9 Weirdest YouTube Channels You Should Subscribe to. Well, let's see this now. What are the other weirdest?
Watch this entire video. You will be diagnosed when we are finished.
9 Weirdest YouTube Channels. It's got 19,000 views. Oh, and it's an early video. It's not this wasn't recent. It was from January 11th, 2015. This is over a year old at this point. Let's see what video they featured. I wonder if you want to check it out. It's called 9 Weirdest YouTube Channels You Should Subscribe to. This still comes up. It's the top result from the picture of the two bikini-clad women, You'll see it. Well, I wonder what video he picked out here. That's how to basic, smashing some stuff. What? Oh, well, now they picked a bad video. You know which one they picked to represent the channel? Yeah. Well, what do they know? They picked the this video isn't really talked about anymore, but there's a video I made in 2012 kind of as a comedy piece, where I just ate some breadsticks and gave some commentary at the time. And they picked that video to be representative of the channel. Not any sort of review or anything else, when that's what the channel does. They just pick that video. Very selective of them. Well, nobody ever told me about that video before, so I guess it didn't have the biggest impact. Okay, what else do we have here? Dear Mr. Bra, Logan from the Official Opinion Podcast here. I just finished watching your video explaining the healthiness of pizza. I'm glad I've found another person who knows the honest truth that the government is hiding about the Italian pie. I've had to keep my pepperoni beast under wraps for some time now, and I appreciate your acknowledgement of their existence. He likes listening to your VORWs with me while eating from his cheese plant. He would like to thank you personally. That is, of course, an animal made of pepperoni and therefore lacks the ability to properly set up an email. That said, I thank you on his behalf. In response to the question from way back in VORW 112, since I haven't messaged you since, I would like to say I really love the winter. I much prefer the cold to searing heat. I love the snow as well. Even just shoveling it is fun. Last year around this time there's a blizzard here in Chicago. We're used to it, but I went outside and felt like I was in a disaster film. The violent winds blowing, the high snow drifts, it was absolutely beautiful. Several weeks after, I was visiting my family in central Wisconsin, where I captured the attached photo of the snow coming down, if you care to show it. I also have a soft spot for fair-skinned women in sweaters, and winter in Wisconsin certainly has no shortage of them. Now, I'd like to request your help in a video production I'm working on. I'm purely non-fiction, slightly satirical historical documentary with a cinematic drama tone over it. The project is based on the civil defense air raid sirens used in Chicago since World War II. To make this video appear more dramatic, I'd like to have several clips of people who had lived there at the time, and you certainly have a look and sound yourself that would be present very nicely for my piece. Says maybe an audio clip would work. Let's see. Well, it was a little while ago. I'm going to use this picture too. It's very, very pretty, by the way. Let's reply right now on the air. Let's just say, sorry for the delay. I only saw... Hello, sorry for the delay in responding. I have no problem in doing an audio clip for your program if you're still interested. All I'd need is a script, and recording will be sent to you the same day. My regards, report of the week, send. Okay, let's see. I'd love to help him out on his little show. He's written in before, and I was like helping out people. Thank you again for your time to read this, and no matter what, keep on bricking, never give up, and never surrender. Well, thank you again, and hit me back about that. I'd be interested to help if the offer still stands. Thank you very much for the nice picture of the snow. It's extremely pretty, and you better believe it's going to be shared on this program. 4 more. Oh, good one. Hello, Review Bro. I figured I'd send you this lovely picture as proof that I have indeed seen a pepperoni beast eating from an American cheese plant. I'm sending it to both emails you gave me just in case. Hope you enjoy the picture. Best regards from Denver. Well, thank you very much, Nick. And yep, it is a genuine pepperoni beast, antennae included. Actually eating from a American cheese plant. And I really did think that was a very fun drawing, a very nice one, and happy to present it on this VORW show as a work of fan art. So thank you. Now a few final letters from the VORW email. I love your videos, so I decided to make some fan art. Now forgive my lack of Photoshop skill, this is my first, quote, project. The links are below, but the images will also be attached to the email. Resolution on both is 1920 by 1080. Well, thank you very much. And very, very interesting. I think I'm going to definitely use one of them for the program. Fan art is always welcome. Always, always. It's great to use, drawings, paintings, works of art, comedic pictures, whatever it may be, done by the listeners, and it's always great to see. So thank you very much for your submission. Hey, Review Bro. I sent you an email earlier in the week along the lines of keep up the good work, etc. Sentiment still stands. However, I couldn't think of a question to ask, but now I have. I was listening to one of your earlier VORWs, and I mentioned that even during Hurricane Sandy, you were wearing a suit the whole time. I was wondering if there ever reaches a point where you would wear sweatpants or sweatshirts. Also, you mentioned to continue to grow/develop the channel, and as I am a big fan of your content, I'm very pleased to hear this. Feel free not to answer this if you'd rather not say, but what exactly do you have in mind, or in what direction do you see this taking? I typed this on my phone, so I apologize if there's any problems or formatting on grammar. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you, and really I just continue to keep doing what I'm already doing, and I just expand the reach of the reviews. Don't expand to really change much. Film in HD where appropriate, but that'll be about it. Just keep doing what I do. Now, would there ever be a situation to bring me down to sweatpants and sweatshirts? No. No, the most informal I would ever go would be some sort of khakis or dress pants and hopefully a button down tucked in. And that'd be it. Zombie outbreak, I'd still try to wear a suit as long as I possibly could. Then shirt and ties, and then, khakis and a tucked-in shirt. But as long as I could go with a suit, I would, under any circumstance. Thank you for writing. And no worries, I didn't see any typos. Next up in the VORW info email address, we get a very cryptic message from Christopher. Christopher writes, "When I think about the act, that is, you are extending yourself publicly in the narrow but deep ways you do, it reminds me for some reason of a scene from Matthew Barney's C.C., in which a person concealed beneath a table gradually finds a way to poke upward through it, extending their fingers through this tiny opening, one by one, extract grapes that are sitting in the massive heap upon the table. It is a strange image, I agree, but very interesting to watch." From Christopher. Very cryptic message from Christopher. Very interesting. Lastly, as I don't think it was the last program, I think it was 2 programs ago, we end on an opinion piece. As I said last time we read the opinion piece, I said the views and opinions expressed in this piece are not necessarily endorsed or supported by myself, the Report of the Week, and by this program VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. But believing in free speech, I will give these people airtime, and whether I support or otherwise this message and this opinion piece, it will be read nonetheless. An opinion piece from Anon, he says. "Salutations, Review Bra. I hope this letter finds you well. A little about myself before we delve into the topics I would love to inquire about. I've been a frequent listener to both your food reviews and VORW since early fall of 2015, finding you on the CK board of 4chan, the worst one there is, because everyone there hates me, as many other listeners have. Listening to your reviews while I would be working on something else or browsing the web, I quickly found your VORWs very much intriguing. Hearing your opinions on various food topics from food to radio. The funny thing I found was that I frequented a YouTuber who does food or energy drink reviews, when I myself am not even a fast food frequenter, nor do I indulge in the canned heart attacks, and yet here I was listening to a fringe food reviewer every week. I couldn't quite put my finger on the exact reason. I found myself entranced in your review etiquette, along with your seemingly quirky lifestyle. Nonetheless, I continued to listen to your VORWs while obtaining more information about yourself through little tidbits of information scattered across these broadcasts, and I couldn't help but wonder what your opinion is on a variety of topics. Notice you brought up on multiple occasions the degeneracy of today's society, and I couldn't help but wonder if you actually researched and read into the reasons on how much of Western civilization has been degraded, subverted, and destabilized, to the point where we have youth coming out of college who appear to have been brainwashed to the point where they are kept in a state that robs them of their adulthood and their maturity, keeping them as an emotional, gullible simpleton who will believe anything the media and liberal academia tells them to believe. These kids have been conditioned to believe that 1 + 1 = 3, boys can be girls, white people are inherently evil, Christianity is bad, Islam is good, minorities are always oppressed, and race doesn't exist, so on and so forth. If you would like, I'd highly recommend you and your viewers to research the Frankfurt School and cultural Marxism to get a little bit of a beginner's insight on where this all stemmed from. But I am fully aware that this is first and foremost a food review channel, and politics is usually a no-no subject for most of you alike. Although, with you bringing up these topics subtly in your VORWs, I just had to inquire if you knew just why society has become what it is today. You don't need to go into too much detail on your personal beliefs, but I would really appreciate it if I could hear your opinion on the huge political shift we're witnessing right before our eyes. I know why. I know why, and I'm not going to share why, but I know. I know why society's seemingly gone down the tubes, believe me. Believe me, I've done some research on the matter for several years. Also writes, anyway, on the last subject, which is night walking, I work night shifts, so on my days off I'm able to go on walks ranging between the hours of 2 and 4 a.m. at night. I remember you mentioning that you notice many houses if their lights are on during these hours, and so have I. I wonder if their too are up late, or if they simply have the lights on to ward off criminals and robbers alike. Another thing I noticed while taking my walks is the fauna I come across: rabbits, raccoons, house cats, all of which are in abundance in my neighborhood, sulking about at night, which I found fascinating because I never stopped to think about all these little critters who stay up at night. How often do you see animals out and about when you take your night walks? And do you believe there's a reason for all those lit up houses? All the best from Anon. Well, Anon, discussing your last statement about the night walks, I do see all sorts of fauna. I see, as you said, I see deer. I see rabbits. I see raccoons. I see badgers. I see all sorts. I see voles. I see skunks, and even a few cats too. So I see plenty of fauna, and I think that some of these houses it's a mix, because I see this one house. There's a certain light that's on all night long. I think that's there to just kind of give the illusion that someone's up. There's other houses where sometimes you'll see the lights fluctuate. I think that they're actually up. At 3 a.m., 97% of all people are, when it is 3 a.m., are asleep. So more likely than not, most people are simply asleep with the lights on to try to deter burglars. But when you do notice the lights, fluctuate, you'll see that, someone is awake. But I'd say almost like maybe 2 out of all the houses you see lit up might actually have people awake at that time. Thank you for writing. And that concludes this segment of VORW. To just acknowledge a few people on Reddit who wrote in or submitted their work. We have a Reddit piece of fan art, also representing the Pepperoni Beast, which was featured in this program. We have a Reddit fan art piece for Review Bra's Big Adventure, also briefly featured. And then I have this video here, which I recommend. Maybe if I remember, I'll link it in the description. I just found it very interesting. Someone compiled a lot of my greetings, and it's called Hello Everyone. And I think it's just very interesting to watch, and I got a good laugh out of it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for this program. Remember that if you would like to write in, you may write in via one of the following means. repweekinterview1@gmail.com if you'd like to use email. vorwinfo@gmail.com if you'd also like to use email. Or via YouTube at youtube.com/user/report of the week. Click on the About tab, ladies and gentlemen. And from there, all you need to do is send the contents of your message, submit the message, and that's all there is. Remember, the question for this program to answer is if you could be granted 3 wishes, any wishes, except wishing for more wishes in any way, shape, or form, what 3 things would you wish for, and perhaps why? Any other comments, questions for me, general statements, and anything in between will be covered in the next program and are gladly welcome here. And that's all that I have for you. This is VORW, the voice of the report of the week. Take care, and see you next program. Goodbye. This is the voice of the report of the week, signing off.